Hello, everybody. My name is Bricky, and today we're having another no-face Bricky. I guess is how the way to say it. I'm not in the corner, mainly because I wanted to give you a little bit of a review on the new Halloween movie. Now, I have seen the original Halloween, and I really did like it. It was a lot of fun. It's still old school, kind of cheesy, but it's a really fun movie. And if you know anything about me, I'm really bad when it comes to horror, as in things scare me incredibly easily. And so I actually don't watch much horror. The last horror film I saw in theaters was It. And the last horror film before that one was Never. It is the only horror film I have ever seen in theaters. And so I'm not necessarily a horror connoisseur, as you can tell. But I do appreciate the idea of horror, and due to my amount of Dead by Daylight I've been playing, I kind of felt like I needed to see the new Halloween movie just cause. I felt like I kind of needed to. So I went ahead and went to go see it, and I was very pleased with it. I thought it was a very solid film. It has a few flaws, and maybe I should get the flaws out of the way first before I get into the positives, or I don't know. Yeah, we'll go with flaws first. So it's got a couple flaws, like I said, but overall it's a really enjoyable movie, and I had a great time watching it. So the flaws of the movie are pretty simple, I'd say. Mainly, it's just a couple story beats that are a little bit weird. There's a certain thing, if you've already seen the movie, there's a certain scene about 2/3 of the way through the movie that involves a psychiatrist doctor guy. And it was one of the most bizarre choices in the film that was ever made. And I have no idea why they did it. And it went away like 4 minutes later. And it was just such a weird character decision that made no sense. And it was super odd, and it totally threw the movie off a little bit. And there's a little bit of issues with certain characters seem like they're going to be important and then never being seen ever again. And besides that, there were maybe a couple pacing issues and things of that nature. Obviously, some of the characters do some very stupid things at times. But if horror movie characters is an IQ level, Halloween is like in the middle. You know, some of the characters do really dumb things, but they are nowhere near as bad as some other, horror movie characters. But enough of that about that stuff, because I kind of want to get that stuff out of the way to begin with. Because I want to talk about the movie. I really like this movie. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, with the exception of that one thing I mentioned. There's a certain scene, but it was a very enjoyable not recreation, but a very enjoyable type of homage, sequel, however you want to say, to the original film. It captured a lot of the things that made the original film scary, because it's not just jump scares. The jump scares are definitely in it, obviously, but most of them feel earned. There's besides a couple fake jump scares, you do have, I think, 1 or 2 fake jump scares. Just, the simple person comes out from behind the bookshelf and goes, bleh. But it's a Halloween movie, like that's just expected. But the fake jump scares are generally pretty shallow. They arrive and you're just like, ah, damn it. And then they're gone. They don't entirely destroy the film, because the jump scares that are in the film are thoroughly well-deserved almost every time. The tension it builds is very strong. The ability to crank up the suspense is very good. Michael Myers, in general, is still very good at cranking suspense, because in this movie, you will see plenty of times where Michael Myers, or there's a shot and you'll see Myers in the background just staring. And it's terrifying. Or you can see a shot from a perspective of what you assume is Michael Myers as they follow a person in a house, and you can very quietly hear that little mask breathing sound effect. It's very well done. The suspense that Michael creates is incredibly interesting, and it's good as well because it's cool seeing this unstoppable, pure evil force that Michael Myers is, but still make him kind of human, Like, not human as in personality. No, God, no, he's terrifying. But in the sense of, like, he's not supernatural. He's just a big, strong, scary man. He's the boogeyman. And it's very cool to see how he operates. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis was phenomenal as Laurie Strode. There were no decisive strikes. I was so sad about that. But she was great. It was a lot of fun having her there. She played Laurie Strode excellently as this kind of grandmother who spent her whole life traumatized by the Michael Myers incident, trying to prepare for him to come back. It's very well done. Her acting is phenomenal. The acting almost across the board is pretty decent. You have your usual kid actors or like teenagers that get chopped that are a little bit, you know, kind of iffy sometimes, but I wouldn't say anybody in the movie is bad. You know, at worst, they're all right. But mostly, they're generally pretty dang good. And Jamie Lee Curtis just steals the show in pretty much every scene she's in, as does Myers. I went into this movie for two things. One, to see a badass old Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis act badass, and to see Myers kill people in spades. And I got both of them. Michael Myers is awesome in this movie. His age and stuff is obviously a factor, but it doesn't stop the boogeyman. He is a tank, and he shrugs off injuries like nobody's business. And, you know, he is just terrifying. He moves with that same very rigid, stiff, erratic movement. Wait, no, erratic is kind of the opposite. The very stiff movement you see Michael Myers walk with, and that weird way he walks where it feels like he's got a big metal pole attached to his spine. He has that same just kind of creepy movement. So often you'll see him just staring through somebody through a window or a gate, and it is terrifying, and he is the definition of a badass. It's almost somebody you want to root for, and it's not like the movie shows him sparingly. He's there as practically a main character. He probably gets the same amount of screen time as Laurie Strode does. It's excellent to see him in this movie so much. It truly is very enjoyable. And besides all of the negatives I mentioned before, the movie really does come down to what are you looking for? Because I feel like if you want to sit down this movie and you expect it to be the next greatest horror film ever, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed because it definitely has some filmmaking issues. But I walk into a movie like this like I would any slasher film. I'm expecting bad acting, stupid people, gore, and a cool monster villain. What I got was good acting, good gore, good horror, only some character decisions that were weird, and overall a pretty dang competent horror film. And I would highly recommend giving it a shot. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's always the possibility you may not enjoy as much as I do, but I think this is one of those movies that you really got to see to find out. Because I found it a ton of fun. I got everything that I wanted out of it, and Michael Myers is still solidified as a freaking amazing boogeyman. So, with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.